Rafael dos Anjos versus Renato Moicano is the new co-main event of UFC 272, Covington versus Masvidal, and I can't wait for this lightweight bout, although it's not really a lightweight bout, it's a catchweight bout of 160 pounds, because of course, Renato Moicano, big money Moicano, stepping up on short notice to save the day. I doubt he can make 155 pounds. He's a big 145er, moving up to 155. It's excusable for it to be at 160 pounds. Is this the fight we were all looking forward to, which was Rafael dos Anjos versus Rafael Fiziev in a battle of the Rafaels? Only one Rafael can exist in the top 10 of the lightweight division. No, it's not really that good of a fight compared to what it was originally supposed to be. Is this the fight that we were also looking forward to after Rafael Fiziev pulled out, which was Islam Makhachev versus Rafael dos Anjos? Those two went back and forth on Twitter. Rafael dos Anjos called him out for a replacement fight. Islam Makhachev on Twitter, and we'll get to that in a second, on Twitter, said that he was absolutely okay with fighting Rafael dos Anjos as long as it was at 170 pounds, which really does go to show how much Islam Makhachev is cutting down to make 155 pounds. The fact that he was willing to cut down to a minimum of 170, not 160, not 165, 170 was the next available weight for Islam Makhachev, since he only cut weight just a week before, or even a couple of days ago. So I'm not blaming Islam Makhachev for not being able to make 155 pounds or 160 pounds. However, what went wrong? I like Renato Moicano versus Rafael dos Anjos, but I was really looking forward to Islam Makhachev versus dos Anjos for a second. But now that's not really happening, and I must say, if the UFC had the opportunity for Islam Makhachev to step in on short notice and take on Rafael dos Anjos in the co-main event of their pay-per-view coming up, they would love that opportunity, and they would jump at that idea, and they would make that fight happen. Rafael dos Anjos, in his perfect world, does not want to take on Renato Moicano. That is bad for him. Renato Moicano is not even ranked in the lightweight division. Maybe he'll make like a surprise guest appearance at number 15 now that he's signed this fight. But either way, Renato Moicano is a no-win situation for Rafael dos Anjos because he's not even ranked. There's nothing for Rafael dos Anjos to gain. If he was to fight Islam Makhachev, first of all, he can have the excuse of a short notice replacement change for Islam Makhachev in place of Rafael Fiziev. Completely different style matchup, and he could say something like, if he was beaten, I wasn't preparing for a grappler. This is what happens when you don't prepare for a grappler. This was a really bad matchup for me. However, Rafael dos Anjos, given the choice, would much rather a title elimination bout, essentially, against Islam Makhachev over a unranked Renato Moicano. So in my honest opinion, before we get into my prediction on this bout, Makhachev was all talk. No? That's the common denominator here. He's all talk. Really? He weren't really about it. I'm sure the UFC would love that idea. I'm sure Rafael dos Anjos would love that idea as well. Makhachev talking a bit on Twitter and not really backing it up, let's just say. I know it's illegal in the MMA YouTube community to insult a Dagestani. I understand that, fan base. I've seen the like to dislike ratios on any of my videos revolving a Dagestani fighter. However, let's be real. Everyone's acting like, Rafael dos Anjos ducking Islam Makhachev. I even saw some of the comments on some of these Instagram posts where people are saying stuff like, we wanted Islam. Nah, this ain't it. This doesn't mean anything. No, listen to the fans. They were listening to the fans. Like, this isn't a fact of the UFC saying, they want Islam Makhachev and Makhachev wants to fight and so does Rafael dos Anjos. Fuck the UFC fans. We're doing Renato Moicano instead. I'm sure they wanted as high a ranked person as possible to be taking this matchup on in the co-main event of a pay-per-view. But I'm telling you, likelihood is Makhachev weren't really ready to step up on this short of notice. Or however, I would have loved to have, I would loved for him to have done it, because it would have separated him from Khabib, because Khabib would have never done anything like this. Khabib was very structured, very strategic, and I'm guessing that Makhachev said he would step up, and Khabib and Ali Abdelaziz said, let's settle down. Yeah, I mean, let's settle down a little bit here. Khabib talks some sense into him, like, brother, you know this. You have title fight coming up. You have already got title shot, brother. You don't need to jump in on short notice here. Big risk, brother. You're two weight cut back to back. You're too big, brother. You cannot cut this much weight back to back 2 weeks in a row. So I understand that maybe Khabib was talking some sense, but instead now, without the Makhachev bout, because Makhachev maybe thought otherwise on his idea to step up against Rafael dos Anjos, which I'm not blaming him for. Why would you do that? It's a stupid move. I agree. I would, if I was his manager, I'd say, yeah, fuck off. Don't do that. Let's sit it out, take some time off. You just weight cutted about a week ago, or a couple of days ago, actually. You just made a massive weight cut a couple of days ago. Let's chill out a little bit. Let's not drain the weight cut. Because, you know, we've seen this before when a guy cuts weight too much. Even Tony Ferguson did this in the build-up to his Gaethje fight. It seems to affect the ability to take a shot just a tiny bit when you're draining yourself that often before a fight occurs. And that many times before a fight occurs as well. So I'm not blaming Makhachev. But now we've got Rafael dos Anjos versus Renato Moicano. Big money Moic, as I'm starting to call him. I loved his post-fight interview in his last fight. It really made me a big fan of him. I picked Alexander Hernandez to beat Renato Moicano. And Renato Moicano proved me wrong, man. He lost the first round, I would argue. Even though he did get a takedown, he got massively outlanded in terms of significant strikes on the feet. So I did assume that he lost that first round. But he won the second with a big combination. Finished off Alexander Hernandez with a rear naked choke. Does he beat Rafael dos Anjos? More importantly, does he beat Rafael dos Anjos after cutting weight again? Because he only cut weight recently, but he's back again. It has been a bit of time, so I doubt he's going to have any injuries or swelling or anything like that. So he's going to be healed up, but he's cutting weight again very soon. Hasn't had a full training camp, and it's a 5-rounder. That's a big deal. Is he ready for 5 rounds with Rafael dos Anjos? Because if there's a man who's difficult to finish, or at least has been difficult to finish since Jeremy Stephens destroyed him, because although people like to mock Jeremy Stephens, the guy's got fucking dynamite in his hands. And when he hits people, they really don't fucking move. Has he got the ability to finish Rafael dos Anjos, who's so difficult to finish ever since that Jeremy Stephens loss? I mean, this guy will lose, but he ain't going to get finished. And that's something that not a lot of fighters can say. Rafael dos Anjos, 90% of the time, or there's a 90% chance that Rafael dos Anjos is going to be there in your face at the end of the 5th round. He was there for Colby Covington. He was there for Kamaru Usman. He was even there for Leon Edwards. I mean, he's taken on the who's who of every division. And he's more times than not always made it to a decision, even though that makes no sense because I said always and more times than not. But most of the time, 98% of the time, he's there in the 5th round against Tony Ferguson. Against Khabib, he was there in the 3rd round as well. He doesn't get finished. So if Renato Moicano can't finish him, can he go 5 rounds with RDA? I don't think so. I think RDA is going to win this one as the rounds go on. I can see Renato Moicano winning the first 2 rounds just based on eagerness. He's the younger guy. He's a little bit faster in my opinion. He's got more to prove. It's his big moment, jumping up, co-main event of a pay-per-view. So I feel like this is his big moment. He's going to make the most of it, and he's probably going to win himself the first 2 rounds. But I think if he can't finish RDA in those first 2 rounds, I can definitely see RDA turning the tide. I can see him turning the tide, maybe 2nd. I'm probably going to say 3rd to play it safe here. And I'm going to call a 4th round arm triangle. No. I'm going to call a decision. RDA couldn't finish Felder. Although Felder did train his cardio massively for that 5-rounder because he was doing marathons and stuff. But he still couldn't find a finishing position on a guy who hadn't been training kickboxing and hadn't been training jiu-jitsu for that entire fight camp. So I'm going to go with Rafael dos Anjos in a decision, 48-47. No. What would the scorecard be? 48-46. I'm going to call a 10-8 round in the 5th. Renato Moicano survives, but he's really starting to get beaten up by RDA, and maybe RDA's on top of him in half guard, landing big shots towards the end of the bell. But I definitely see Rafael dos Anjos winning this one, mainly because I don't see Renato finishing him, and that's the main problem. Hernandez beat him in the 1st round. Of course, he finished Jai Herbert, but I mean, levels in the lightweight division, Jai Herbert is not in the mix with some of the top guys up there. But either way, Renato Moicano, very dangerous. Don't see him finishing RDA, and if you can't finish him, Renato's cardio has been proven in the past to not be the best. His chin also hasn't been the best, so I don't think he's going to be able to grit down in the pocket and get like a TKO over RDA or anything like that. The one moment that he might be able to win at is the jiu-jitsu. If he can take the back of RDA, rear naked choke him, credit, great win. Renato's at the top of the lightweight division. I just don't see that happening, man. RDA's such a veteran. He's been doing this for so long, and those veterans know how to stay alive in those bad positions. So I'm going to go with RDA decision, unfortunately, for Renato Moicano. We saw him start to gas out in the Brian Ortega fight, and that's when he sort of panicked to take down and got himself guillotined there, because he was actually piecing up Brian Ortega in that fight, but he eventually started to gas in a high-paced scrap. So I think that Renato Moicano is going to be very patient early on, but very effective with his shots and very powerful as well. And I think he's going to start stinging up RDA at range. RDA doing more investment shots, maybe working a little body shot or two in the first round. Renato Moicano landing jabs and straight right hands and front kicks to the body and maybe the head here and there, who knows. And I think RDA eventually is going to start to smother him. They're going to start getting up against the cage. Renato Moicano might go for a guillotine. RDA pops out of it, lands a couple of body shots on the ground. Renato works his way back up, lands some good shots there. They separate. Renato at range, landing some good straight shots again. Rafael now pouring on the pressure in round 3. More body shots from Rafael dos Anjos. Leg kicks from Rafael dos Anjos. Takedowns from dos Anjos. They're sweaty. They've been in a scrap. Some of them are bloody as well. Maybe one of them's got a cut open. Renato Moicano goes for a choke. He loses position because of the sweat. Now RDA's on top, landing good shots. Renato's able to survive, but he's still losing those rounds. That's how I see this fight going down. Big matchup, though, in the lightweight division. And I'm rooting for Big Money Moik. I'm really, really rooting for Big Money Moik. Big Money, man. Texas Puha! Texas Puha! I loved his post-fight speech. He won over so many fans. But we'll see how it goes. If he wins this one, probably... The winner's probably next for, I would argue, the winner of Chandler versus Ferguson is probably realistic. Now that this matchup has happened and Makhachev has been proven, like, RDA called his bluff, no balls, pathetic little pussy bitch. Now I've secured all of those dislikes with a few seconds of words. Since Makhachev didn't step up, pussy bitch, since he didn't step up, for whatever reason, I believe that he'll probably fight Dariush next for a title shot. They'll rebook that one. And we'll probably see the winner of this one take on maybe Fiziev. I doubt it. Or maybe if Renato wins, they could run back the Fiziev fight because Fiziev beat him. So that would be some reason to run that one back, I guess. But if RDA wins, I see it being RDA. Maybe versus Conor McGregor. If he calls him out, he probably will call him out. A good position for him, or the winner of Chandler versus Ferguson, or the winner of Chandler-Ferguson gets the McGregor fight, and RDA has to fight Fiziev anyway, because fuck RDA, I guess. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip, I'll see you later. Bit of a prediction, bit of an MMA news reaction. I didn't want to react to the Makhachev RDA stuff, because I was like, this ain't official, this is tweets. I'm done making videos over tweets, but this is official now, so here you are. Like and subscribe. See you later. Toodle pip.